Oh, what's up, YouTube? This your boy Ken Wayne. I hope everybody had a great Christmas yesterday. I know I did. Today, I'm gonna go ahead and give you a list of my favorite to least favorite DCEU movies after seeing Wonder Woman 84. I'm gonna go ahead and do a list from top to bottom, from the ones I would watch probably one time versus the ones I would watch multiple times. So here, I'm gonna go ahead and share with y'all my favorites. Now, again, this is just my opinion. I'm not saying that my opinion is better than anyone else's, but here I want to just go ahead and just share with you guys my top favorite to least favorite. But I'm going to start from the bottom, from Man of Steel all the way down to the latest, which will be Wonder Woman 84. So stay tuned. Here we go. Let's go ahead and get started on it real quick. So the least favorite movie that I would say that I probably wouldn't really watch for real would be Justice League. Of course, it's pretty much a given. After the whole situation that happened back 3 years ago with Zack Snyder and the change up on the movie, change of director, change of direction, all of that on there, everyone's been having a lot of mixed reviews about the movie. Most will say that that movie was trash, or some would say that it didn't live up to its hype. Now, I know given that coming in March 2021, we're supposed to be getting the Snyder Cut Justice League. So hopefully that this movie that's going to be released on HBO Max will be a lot better than what we saw in theaters. But the reason why I ranked this so low is due to the fact of one, it I didn't get that same feel as I got when I watched Batman vs Superman. I see that it changed a lot as far as the tone of the movie, trying to make it a little bit more lighthearted, especially on some of the characters. I didn't like how the villain Steppenwolf, I guess you can say that we didn't really understand his motive. It just seemed like he was just out there just collecting the boxes for no reason. There wasn't really that much of a background on Steppenwolf except for that whole flashback scene where he invaded Earth millennium ago, where it was the Amazons, the Atlanteans, and the humans, and of course a couple of Green Lanterns fought off against him along with the old Greek gods. But some of the characters I did like, but I noticed that a lot of people have been talking about the whole Henry Cavill Superman CGI face. I didn't really see that when I first saw the movie. I didn't see that until like maybe the fourth, like either the third or the fourth time I saw the movie. I started to see, okay, that doesn't look right the way that his face looked like. But I can see that dude, he had a mustache and he couldn't shave it because he was doing it for another movie, which was Mission Impossible. So they had to CGI his face. Along with that, I didn't. I would say probably one of the good things about the movie was when they resurrect Superman and he was attacking the Justice League and all this. But I think that's probably the only thing they did in that movie. Like I feel like everything they kind of kept everything almost aligned with what Zack Snyder did, but did a couple of changes, like trying to make Batman a little bit more lighthearted. He wasn't the same Batman that we saw in Batman vs Superman. He was trying to be a little bit more lighthearted with the character, trying to throw in a quick one-liners and a couple of jokes here and there, which I was like, that, folks would be like, that's not my Batman. That is not my Batman. So again, this movie is below because now that we're going to get the Snyder Cut, I want to see what Zach's vision was in this movie. And if it turns out to be better than what we saw, I'm gonna be kind of upset. Like, I'll be like, I can't believe I actually was so hyped to see this movie because, again, I'm a DC fan and I was really hyped to see exactly where they were going with this. But due to the fact that the change of direction, change of tone, and all of that just been pushed into this movie, trying to make it almost like a Marvel movie, it kind of just hurt me a little bit to know that, okay, so this is the route that y'all were going with it. So I guess I really didn't like it. So this movie, I really wouldn't watch it that much. As far as the ending goes, I was real hoping to see Superman wear the black suit, but he didn't do it in the version that we saw in theaters. But we're going to see that in Zack Snyder's Snyder Cut's Justice League. So again, I'm very excited to see where they're going to go with this movie. As again, I talked about in my previous video that I really want to see exactly where Zack was going with his movie. I want to see it put into fruition. I want to, understand, okay, why is he going in this direction? So again, that movie is low. I haven't really watched it in a while, so I can remember a lot of the stuff going on. Oh, another thing is also the fact that they even took out a couple of scenes in the movie. Like they cut out so much stuff in that movie. Like for Cyborg's origin, we were supposed to see a version of Cyborg where he was human, and again, we didn't see that. We just saw that he was already Cyborg. We didn't really see the transition of how he became Cyborg. Same goes for Barry Allen. We were supposed to get a scene where we were supposed to see Iris West, but we didn't see that. That part was cut out. We was also supposed to see a scene where during the flashback it was supposed to be Darkseid, but they changed it to be Steppenwolf. And then after the defeat, it was also said that Steppenwolf was supposed to die at the end of the movie, but they changed it and made Steppenwolf retreat. And we were supposed to get a glimpse of Darkseid, but again, we didn't see all that in that movie. But again, we're going to be able to see that in Zack Snyder's cut of the movie. So again, this movie is below. So the second lowest movie that I probably wouldn't watch back to back. I did rewatch this a couple of days ago just to get a feel of where were they trying to go with this movie, because I only seen this movie like probably five times total since it came out, and the movie is going to be Suicide Squad. Now Suicide Squad, man, who you know I know that they were trying to do their own little thing by having, instead of the movie being based on heroes, they were trying to do it on some villains, which technically the Suicide Squad really isn't like a super villain team, if you want to say. It's more just a team full of insubordinates, anti-heroes, a few villains here and there mashed up into like a team where they're supposed to go out and do tasks for the government. Characters that you have will be Deadshot, Harley Quinn, Katana, Killer Croc, Captain Boomerang, Slipknot. Joker was in the movie, which I feel like they didn't do Joker justice in this movie due to the fact that, again, there were scenes that they had to cut out with Joker that we was able to see in the Ultimate Edition or the extended edition of Suicide Squad. We saw a few scenes with the Joker, which I don't know why they cut those out in when they first released the movie. But again, the reason why Suicide Squad is low is because I did not like how they tried. First it was supposed to be a rated R because it's Suicide Squad. This movie was supposed to be like a rated R version of the movie, but of course they changed it up at the last minute and made it PG-13 because again they were trying to make it almost like a Marvel movie. You can also tell that this movie was almost trying to mimic the MCU's Guardians of the Galaxy. A band of mischief just band together and they become like a family. Same goes for Suicide Squad in some form of fashion. And again, you have characters that a lot of people weren't familiar with. Like, I know a lot of people are familiar with Harley Quinn, of course, and of course Joker, but a few people only know much about Deadshot and Killer Croc, Captain Boomerang, Katana. Oh, I also forgot El Diablo. Like, the viewers weren't very familiar with these characters because, one, they were never shown in the big screen. Two, they don't know what their purpose was in the movie besides just, banding together and, of course, having a little bomb in their necks. If they didn't do what they were told, their heads would blow up. So, now, Viola Davis, she nailed it as Amanda Waller. There were scenes where it made it seem like she was literally playing that role neck deep. Like, she was, man, there was scenes that I was like, oh my gosh, imagine if that's how she really acts in real life. But she did an outstanding role. I just wish, the only thing I wish that they had changed in the movie was not to make Enchantress the main antagonist. I would prefer it to be more of a grounded Suicide Squad movie. I know that that they were trying to make it to where Enchantress got her powers from a mother box. So basically, the whole DCEU was supposed to be surrounded by Darkseid and Apocalypse, where a mother box happened to be in the Suicide Squad movie, and somehow it transformed Enchantress transformed June Moon, the person that's being possessed by Enchantress, and her to become, what she is. And it was supposed to, this movie was also supposed to have a little bit of a tie-in to Justice League, especially the Apocalypse War. That's why I like to call it the Apocalypse War, since this is the route they're going with. But again, I kind of wish that they just made Joker the main antagonist. It would have been a different feel to have it to be a little bit more grounded for a Suicide Squad, given that all the characters that they chose to be on the squad. You have a hitman, you have a psychotic used to be therapist, you have a bank robber. You have a pyromaniac. Well, he's not really a pyromaniac. He was more like a drug lord, but I guess you say pyromaniac. You have a cannibal. You have a ninja. Um, I feel like I'm missing. Oh, you also have a guy who climbs, which happens that he was the only one that pretty much got killed with the bomb in his neck. So, for those who don't know, Suicide Squad is. If you ever hear about the interpretation of them, just know that it's just a team of villains and anti-heroes band together to work for the government. If they don't do what they're told, their heads explode because they got a bomb implanted in their neck for them to do it. But again, this movie fell short because, of course, they changed the direction at the last minute. And what we got in theaters, I guess it didn't really live up to the expectation I was hoping. So that's why Suicide Squad is second below on the list. So the third lowest movie would be Birds of Prey. Now, when I first saw this, I was a little skeptical about this movie. When I first heard about it, because I know that as Margaret Robbie did an awesome job playing Harley Quinn in Suicide Squad, that they wanted to give her like her own kind of movie. And honestly, Birds of Prey kind of felt like just a solo Harley Quinn movie with just a tad bit of side characters added into it, like Black Canary, Dinah Lance, and then you got Helena Bertolini, the Huntress. You also have Renee Montoya from the GCPD cop, and also Cassandra Cain. Which, let me tell you something about Cassandra Cain. Um, I did not like the route that they were going with her character. I was hoping when I heard Cassandra Cain was going to be in this movie, I was thinking of, so we're going to get the second Batgirl, the Black Bat. For those who don't know, Cassandra Cain is the daughter of an assassin family. Excuse me. You have David Cain, who is the father, and then you have Lady Shiva of the League of Assassins as the mother. And of course, she became the daughter who happened to be trained, who was also trained with Batman to become the second Batgirl when Barbara Gordon was out of commission. And so when Barbara decided to come back as Batgirl, she had moved to Japan and became the Black Bat, she is also like her mother, a very skillful character. And given that what we saw in the theaters, I was hoping to see that kind of version or a little bit of an interpretation of her. But again, we didn't see that. We just saw that Cassandra was just a no good child who grew up in a bad household, who's out here stealing. Then she befriends Harley. Of course, Harley. This is what at first what was it called? Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey and the Emancipation of One Harley Quinn was the original name of the movie. Until months later, they decided to change it and call it Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey. Now, for Birds of Prey, they should have just kept it with Gotham City Sirens. It just seemed a lot better instead of calling it Birds of Prey, because the Birds of Prey is a team consisted of heroes where you have not Harley Quinn, you have Barbara Gordon, aka Batgirl, but she is now known as Oracle, who is, is called the woman in the chair, the girl with the. It's kind of like, if for those, think of Barbara or Oracle as Felicity from Arrow. That's all she do. She's just a girl with, the girl on the computer just giving back, feedback and backup behind the scenes. Then you have Dinah Lance, aka the Black Canary, out in the field. And you also have the Huntress that's also out in the field. Those are the Birds of Prey. Now, for the Gotham City Sirens, which I wish they would have did that, if not just focus on the solo Harley Quinn movie. But again, the Gotham City Sirens are a team of Gotham's super villain female team, which you have Catwoman, Poison Ivy, and Harley Quinn. Like, come on now. That right there is a perfect example, because Harley's already on part of a team called the Gotham City Sirens. But why would you want to add the Birds of Prey? I feel like they should have just did Birds of Prey separately by itself, so that way you could focus on doing just mold Harley Quinn. Yeah, just say the Harley Quinn's Emancipation. That would have been a good name, because if this is a movie that's supposed to say that Harley Quinn's trying to get away from the Joker, you should have just kept it like that instead of trying to add in these other characters. I think Black Mask was also a good villain. The person that played him, he did a terrific job. And you also have Victor Zsasz in it as well. Even I didn't realize that was Victor Zsasz. I'm so used to Victor Zsasz with the bald head and the scars all over his body and face. But, that guy, he also did a good job as well. Renee Montoya, it's almost like Renee was almost identical to her comic book counterpart. But again, I think Again, the movie was okay as far as like Margaret Robbie's performance as Harley. She did a good job. And then you have Black Mass who did a good job. It's just the other characters. I wish that y'all just kind of left them alone, or let alone introduce them to like a setup to like, oh, then you have Gotham City Sirens, and you want to do a setup to like Birds of Prey. Then you want to add Huntress and no, Huntress and Black Canary in their separate movie. So again, I it is a fairly okay movie. And then on top of that, where was Batman? If all this is happening in Gotham City, where the heck is Batman? Like, that's the whole thing that was getting on my head. Like, where is Batman? Batman should have been here taking care of his city, but again, it didn't happen that way due to some issues. So again, this movie is ranked at the third lowest.